Hello ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, my name is Brad. This is my channel Animate Orange, and today we are going to review the Bugs Bunny Legends model from Metal Earth. Now this is my first Legends model outside of the original group of Legends models that they released, all the superheroes, the DC and the Marvel comic ones. This is the first time that I've built something outside of that. They've come out with quite a few new Legends models, more on the way. You've got the Bugs Bunny or the Looney Tunes lineup, you've got the Transformers, there's Lord of the Rings on the way, there's other stuff possibly on the way. But anyway, this is my first time doing one of the Looney Tunes, doing something outside of that. Now, I say that in part because, well, I expected there to be a difference. Obviously, this is a different shaped creature than the previous Legends model, so I expected there to be some differences to it. Probably more than I expected differences were out there. And being that this is the first time doing one of the Looney Tunes ones, one of the different shaped ones, it probably took me a little longer than it should have. This one took me about an hour to put together. You start off by shaping the feet, which the legs in themselves are not complicated, but getting that curve on the feet, still not that complicated if you have something to curl them around. But I expected these side pieces, this curl toe piece and this side piece, to just fit right together nice and evenly with the two tabs, fold them over and keep going, but that's not the case. They don't really indicate it, but it's probably a little bit helpful if you take and curve this side piece up a little bit or in a little bit to sit it flat. Now, the first time doing this, it took me a while to work that out, and I thought maybe I was doing something wrong and I wasn't real sure. But once I finally got the pieces together and twisted and realized what was going on, it went on from there. And also, I'm not exactly sure how to explain this, but because of the awkward way which I put them on, not realizing that maybe I should twist it, not being real confident in what I was doing, not being sure because I haven't built one before, once you get this one side connected, the bottom folds around, the other side flips up, and it's supposed to just slide over the tab. And for both of his feet, that did not happen easily. It was quite a bit of pushing and struggling, getting that rather tight area together and connected. Now, I've done other models since then, and those reviews are coming up, and they got easier after the first time. But the first time around, it's a bit of a struggle. You expect it to just sit flat against it. Don't fret with it too much. Just go ahead and get the two tabs in their place and twist them and fold the bottom foot around. Don't fight with it too much, and don't make it harder than it should be, which is what I did to try and get it good and flat. And it may help to kind of twist that side up in just a little bit so that it does flip flat. Kind of the side of the foot and the leg, the side of the foot and the leg are like this if you just kind of put a tiny little bit of an angle to it. And you'll see what I mean as you put it together. It's probably going to help things a lot, and it did the next model that I make. Now, moving on past that, the body and the arms and this little tail piece on Bugs, because Bugs has a little tiny tail piece, are pretty simple and straightforward. Really easy. The carrot that he's holding, really not that complicated. What I did, because it's four sides, I bit the two inner sides together at a right angle, folded the tips over so that they met, and then use that as a guideline to fold the other two tips over before I folded those two sides in and completed the carrot. And that was a pretty good technique, worked out really well. The leafy side of the carrot, really simple. It's just a box with some extra pieces sticking out. Attach those two sides. Pay attention to which way you are connecting these two pieces when it comes to the hand, because the hand only fits on one way, but you could possibly get the carrot ends mixed up and have him look like he's working on stabbing at something. I know someone who did that. It happens. We all make mistakes. But beyond that, the body and the arms are really simple to put together. The head, a little bit more complicated. The side piece is really not that hard. You just find the right size curved piece and curve it. But the second mistake that I made with this is not understanding how this snout pokes out. And with him not really having an attached jaw, because he has this sort of sunk in mouth piece, it confused me. And again, I've done another model since then, and that review's coming. I didn't quite get it, but basically you want the nose to kind of poke out and the side cheeks to fold back, the top of the cheek to fold back, and the bottom to kind of fold in. And if you get that geometry more or less correct the first go around, the side pieces will fit better. But I struggle with it being the first time that I built one of these models and not completely understanding the final product and how it folds, and I made some mistakes. And these don't just fold down flat. There is a little bit of a curve to it. They don't really explain that in the directions. You just kind of have to figure that out. With his cheeks, I did put a little bit of a kind of a curved flare to it to make it happen, but once the shape came together, the hard part was getting this little jaw piece in. Once that came together, the rest of it was fairly simple. The ears, I did make the mistake of folding them originally backwards so that the engraved side kind of poked out where it should be concave where the engraved side is. And the head's a little bit awkward. The top of the head's a little bit awkward how it attaches, but it's not too difficult to do. Now on the back of the packaging you have your little scale that shows you how difficult it is, and I'll try to give that a second to focus. This is on the easier side of things. And for the most part it's correct, but being the first one to do, it was for me a little bit more challenging. Not terrible. I mean, I've done some pretty big builds like Optimus Prime and the Peace Cool models and some of the larger Iconics models. I've definitely done some more complicated things. But there were a couple of things I didn't expect. So being the first one, I don't know if it's just because it's the first one or because Bugs has that weird thing in his face. Being that it was the first Looney Tunes one, it took me a little longer, and so the first one was just a little bit more difficult on the scale, maybe up 1 or 2 colors, maybe 1 color. But I think from here on out doing the next ones will be a lot simpler now that I have the basic idea of it. And again, Bugs took me about an hour to put together, which is kind of long for a Legends model. But it was my first time feeling my way through it. Now that I've got the general idea, now I've already done Porky Pig since then, and I'm still working on that video, and I haven't counted the time out specifically, but it's definitely less than 50 minutes for that one to put together. So it went together quite a bit faster than this one because I already had an idea of what I should be doing, and I'd already run a practice run with Bugs Bunny here. So practice run out of the way, hopefully the next ones will go a lot easier. I've talked all about building him. Let's talk about the completed model. He looks pretty neat. Not that terribly difficult to put together. You know, I did run into that initial first time building this style hiccup of trying to figure some things out, but it didn't really take away any of the fun of it. I enjoyed the challenge. I enjoyed figuring it out and have a lot more confidence going forward with making some of the other Legends model. This is a decent one to start with. It did not trip me up to the point of being a serious problem. I will say that the arms are not completely enclosed. If you look very carefully there is some opening, and as you build this model you'll notice the arms don't have an inside piece like the other Legends models do, so there is a little bit of an open area, but really in this particular model you don't easily notice it by looking at it directly. It's not very easily noticeable. You can kind of look at it from this angle and see the gap down in there, but the other arm is pretty well hidden. It's just not a big deal. It looks like a really neat little character, and we still have the kind of matte-ish, semi-matte finish, which I think worked really well for the Guardians of the Galaxy models, and it works really well for this guy. You almost can't tell that he's painted. It almost looks like the regular metal, just a little bit duller. It just works. It works really well. And I remember looking at the sheets and not seeing a lot of detail and thinking, man, this is missing something. But once you've got them all together, it looks perfectly fine. I'm very pleased with this. So the Legends concept, I think, maybe works a little bit better with the Looney Tunes models than with the heroes. Not to say anything bad about the heroes, about the DC and Marvel particular characters, but for Looney Tunes it works better, which is one of the things I was kind of counting on. It was a little bit of a pain getting that bottom jaw mouth area in there, but the effect works pretty good for Bugs, having that sort of buck tooth and sunk in mouth look. It works well for him. And the ears perk up pretty good too, and with that little fold to them, it works. Pretty neat. Did very much enjoy building this model. I'll leave it at that. Thank you to my Patreon supporters for supporting my channel, for helping make these videos possible, for giving me the freedom to make these review videos and build videos as well as news videos. Another big special thanks to Metal Earth for sending me this model to review. Yes, I did not actually go out and purchase this myself. Metal Earth sent it to me with basic understanding that I just give an honest review of this model, and that's what I've done. And there's more to come. They've sent me several Legends models for me to try out, and I'm very much looking forward to putting those guys together. Consider becoming a Patreon supporter. There's a link in the description down below, and here in just a second at the very end of this video. A little bit goes a long way to helping these videos, help me continue to make these videos and keep them coming. Thank you for watching, and keep on keeping on.